Hello, I'm Finbar Hawkins and I'm the author of Witch. And I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about some of the themes and inspirations for this book. It's set during the First Civil War, around about the time of 1646, and Charles I is about to be defeated at Oxford. The whole country had gone through a huge amount of trauma and disruption and mistrust on both sides, and you didn't really know who to trust, so the whole country had been torn apart. And also around this time there was a witch hunter called Matthew Hopkins, who started a number of trials out in the east part of the country, and over the space of about a year, up to about 300 people, we don't really know the precise amount, 300 people were put on trial, and at least 100 women lost their lives, predominantly women. And you know, I wanted to set it during this time. I was fascinated with what happened to the country at that time, where there's these huge amounts of hysteria and change. But also I live in the beautiful countryside of Wiltshire, and so I really wanted to set it there. I was also inspired by the Pendle witch trials, where a number of women were put on trial and lost their lives. And you know, it's a kind of very famous case, witch trial case. So I was inspired by a number of different things, but ultimately I wanted to set it in where I live, and make those kind of explorations. Now, during the witch trials, a lot of women suffered, and it was people that were different, people that perhaps would know a herbal remedy in order to ease a fever, somebody who would be a midwife and would help, would have the knowledge of what to do in that situation. Suddenly these people were thrust into a situation whereby they were blamed for what was going on. The war was a great excuse for opportunists like Matthew Hopkins to kind of rise to the surface. And having read a great deal about this through my research, I wanted to also make this a depiction of what went on, but also a celebration of women, about ultimately the intensity of emotion and love and friendship and sisterhood. That was very important to me. I wanted to make it a kind of clarion call for womankind. A really important theme for my book is being a teenager. The main character, Evey, is about 15. She's sister to Dill, who's about 9. And she's grown up in the witching way. Her mother is a witch, is a healer, and both her and Dill, this is the life that they're used to. But like all teenagers, you want your own life, you want to find your own way, and you're pushing against your family and the kind of the authority that you've grown up with. And that's really what Evie's going through at the time when suddenly witch hunters arrive at her home, and her mother is killed, and her and Dill are on the run. And it's about her being a teenager, having the responsibility of suddenly being thrust into this situation, looking after her younger sister, full of fury, full of anger that she wants to revenge her mother's death, but also confusion about what she wants in life. You know, she wants to be free, and yet at the same time she has family ties. So it's all about those emotions really that you have when you're growing up and you're on the threshold of becoming an adult. Magick, a book like Witch, is a really important part of what I'm writing about, but I wanted to make it also magic of what we see in the world. Evey is witchkind. She is completely connected with nature, as well as her sister Dill, and their whole experience, their whole life is infused by what they see and what they smell and what they touch. The fact that the wind and the rain can take on a personality, and that's how they see the world. And that, for me, was the magic. I wanted to write about the things that I see and that excite me, in terms of the changing of the seasons, the way that the clouds would move across across the land, the way that the sea moves, all of these things, and animals, birds and foxes and bears, all sorts of things that are so beautiful and magical. And that was a massive part of what I wanted to talk about. It's about witches, but it's also about family. And the heart of this book is the sisters' relationship. It's difficult being a sibling. Evey's 15, nearly 16. Her younger sister Dill is about 9. And suddenly you're thrust into a situation which you have no control over. And, you know, your younger sister can be real trouble. And if you're in your younger sister's position, sometimes your older sister can drive you nuts. And being a sibling myself, I know what that's like growing up. I know the frustrations, but also the intense connection that you have with a sibling. That it's a love that is not like the one you have for your mother and father. Your siblings understand each other in a very deep way that nobody else does. And that tension and love was really what I wanted to explore. And that is the heart of Witch.